Well, this week is Thanksgiving. I always love Thanksgiving. I love the food around Thanksgiving, and I love being with family and friends, and I love being thankful. And I have lots of stories I could tell you about times that I was thankful for different things that happened in my life and different things that were done for me by people that loved me. But I want to tell you a story today about a time that someone else was thankful for something that I did for them. As a matter of fact, I was just about 6 years old, and my brother, Don, was 3 years old, and my mother was very sick. She was in the bed with a fever, and she was not able to be up and take care of us because she was sick. And so Don and I decided that we wanted to do something for her. We talked about what we could do, and we couldn't think of anything. We didn't know much what to do for a sick mother. But one of us came up with the idea maybe of getting her some flowers, because we had heard that women liked flowers, and we didn't know why, but we didn't know much about flowers. So we walked out on our back porch, and we looked across this little field of a kind of a thicket, or just a field with the weeds in it. But on the other side of the field, there was some little yellow flowers. Now, we found out later that they were just called dandelions. They were not even really flowers. They were more like weeds, but they looked like flowers to us. So we said, let's go get Mother some of those pretty yellow flowers. Of course, we were barefooted, and we just had little short pants on, didn't have anything on our legs. And so we started across that field, and we discovered when we got just a little ways into the field that it was not just a field of weeds, it was a field of briars. And all of a sudden, I'd say, ouch, oh, and Don would say, oh, ouch, oh. And those briars, those thorns were sticking into our legs and cutting our legs up. And we were over halfway across the field, and one of us said, maybe we should go back. And the other one said, no, we need to get those flowers for Mama. So we kept on. We kept going across the field, and then once we got over on the other side, we got the flowers, and we picked them and looked at them, and then we looked back across the field. We thought, we've got to go back through those briars again. But that's what we had to do. So we started walking through the briars. Ouch, oh. And by the time we got back to the house, our legs were bleeding. And it didn't cut them real bad, but just enough that the blood was running down our legs. And we went into where our mother was, and we said, Mama, we got you some flowers. And she sat up in bed, and she looked at the flowers. Of course, like I said, they were just weeds, but they were flowers to us. And she looked at those flowers, and then she looked down at our legs. And she said, boys, what happened to your legs? Why are you bleeding? Why are your legs bleeding? And we said, well, we had to go across the field to get those flowers, and that's what had to happen. We just had to go through there, and we didn't know at the time, but it was a briar patch. And she started crying, and she was just crying, and we looked at each other, and we thought, she must not like our flowers. And we said, Mama, do you not like those pretty yellow flowers? And she was crying. She said, oh, yes, I love these flowers. And she just grabbed both of us up, and she hugged us so tight. And she said, thank you, boys, thank you. She said, I appreciate this so much. And I said, well, are those special flowers? And she said, no. She said, you are special boys. And she said, because you were willing to actually hurt yourself in order to bring these to me. That's why I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. And as I got older, after I became a Christian, when I would think about Jesus being willing to go through so much suffering to give to me something worth 10 billion times more than a bunch of flowers. He gave me eternal life. And I thinking he was willing to suffer and die. And then I remember how that my mother was so grateful because we were willing to suffer just a little bit in order to give her those flowers. So a gift is appreciated even more when it costs the person something other than just money, when it may cost them a little bit of pain or a little bit of inconvenience. So I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving this week.